Have you ever wondered what it would mean if a president had the power to completely shut down borders? This question isn't just a thought experiment or an idle musing. It's a real issue we're facing today, with President Joe Biden expressing a desire for the authority to shut down the border. But what does that actually mean? Well, let's start with the basics. Borders are the lines that define a country. They're what separate one nation from another. They're not just lines on a map, though. They're also the gateways through which people, goods, and ideas flow from one country to another. And controlling those gateways, deciding who and what can come in or go out, is one of the most fundamental powers a country has. So when we talk about the power to shut down the border, we're talking about a significant and far-reaching authority. It's not just about stopping people at the border. It's about controlling the flow of goods and resources. It's about determining who gets to participate in the economy. And it's about shaping the culture and demographics of a country. Now, this isn't to say that border control is inherently good or bad. Like any power, it can be used for good or for ill depending on how it's wielded, but it's a power that should be treated with respect and caution because of its potential to shape the fate of a nation. This brings us back to President Biden. Recently, he expressed a desire for the authority to shut down the border. This has sparked a lot of discussion and debate, and not just among politicians and pundits. Current and former officials at the Department of Homeland Security, the people who are or were on the front lines of border control, are expressing concern over this assertion. But why are these officials concerned? What do they think could happen if a president had the power to shut down the border? And what does this mean for you and me as citizens living in an increasingly interconnected world? Let's dive deeper into this topic, examining both the potential implications and the reactions from officials. What exactly did President Biden say about this controversial topic? Well, let's delve into it. Over the past weekend, President Biden expressed his desire for a rather significant power. He stated that he wants the authority to shut down the border. Yes, you heard it right. Shut down the border. This statement was made amidst a time of heightened tensions and ongoing debates about border security and immigration policies. The president's assertion didn't come out of the blue. Instead, it was a response to the recent surge in migrant arrivals and the increasing pressure on border management resources. President Biden expressed, and I quote, "Given the recent surge of migrants at the border and the strain on our resources, I believe that I should have the authority to shut down the border when necessary." This was a part of his larger statement where he discussed the need for comprehensive immigration reform and enhanced border security measures. His words stirred the pot, sparking a flurry of discussions and debates among both policymakers and the public. It's not every day that a president expresses a desire for such a drastic measure. The statement echoed around the halls of power, reaching the ears of officials both current and former at the Department of Homeland Security. Some might see this as a bold move, a necessary step to ensure the security and integrity of the nation's borders. Others might view it as an overreach, a step too far in the pursuit of border control. Either way, it's undeniable that the president's assertion has sparked a significant conversation. With the exact words of President Biden now laid out, it's time to turn our attention to the reactions. Now that we've heard the president's words, let's see how officials are responding. How are current and former officials at the Department of Homeland Security reacting to President Biden's statement? A flurry of responses has been triggered by President Biden's recent assertion about wanting the power to shut down the border. These reactions have emerged from the ranks of both current and past officials serving at the Department of Homeland Security, a body that stands at the forefront of managing border affairs. Concerns have been raised about the implications of such a move. Many officials have articulated worries about the potential for humanitarian crises to arise, especially if the border was to be abruptly shut. They argue that such an action would disrupt the lives of countless people who rely on border crossings for their livelihood, family connections, or safety. Conversely, some officials have voiced their support for the president's stance. They argue that the power to shut down the border could serve as a valuable tool in dealing with situations of heightened national security risk, or in controlling the spread of infectious diseases. They point to the recent global pandemic as an example of when such power could have been beneficial. However, even among those who see potential upsides, there's a shared sentiment that this power should be used judiciously. They emphasize the need for clear guidelines on when and how this authority could be invoked to prevent misuse or overreaching by any sitting president. Critics, on the other hand, strongly dispute the idea. They express fears that such power in the hands of the president could be used for politically motivated actions, potentially leading to an abuse of power. They argue that border security decisions should be guided by comprehensive immigration policies and not by the unilateral decision of one individual. Amid these contrasting views, one thing is clear: the debate is far from over. It has opened up a new chapter in the ongoing conversation about border control and immigration policy in the United States. The officials have spoken, but what could this mean for the future of border security? What would the implications be if a president had the authority to shut down borders at will? Let's delve into the potential consequences of such a policy, both domestically and internationally. To start, we have to consider the legal implications. The right to freedom of movement is widely recognized as a fundamental human right. So, if a president were to shut down borders, could this be seen as a violation of international law? Legal scholars might argue that it could, leading to potential disputes in international courts. Next, let's turn to the economic implications. Borders are not just lines on a map, they are crucial for trade, tourism, and employment. Shutting down borders could disrupt supply chains, causing shortages and driving up prices for everyday goods. It could also deter tourists, leading to losses in the hospitality industry, and prevent cross-border workers from getting to their jobs. The economic fallout could be significant and far-reaching. And then, there are the humanitarian implications to consider. What if a border shutdown trapped people in a war-torn or disaster-stricken country, unable to seek refuge elsewhere? What if families were separated, with no clear path for reunion? The human toll could be immense. We also need to think about the diplomatic implications. Closing borders could strain relationships with neighboring countries and allies. It could lead to retaliatory measures, escalating tensions, and potentially even conflict. Finally, there's the question of precedent. If a president can shut down borders at will, what other powers might they claim? It could set a dangerous precedent, shifting the balance of power and undermining democratic checks and balances. These potential implications are significant, but what can we, as engaged citizens, do about it? What can we do to stay informed and engaged with this issue? Well, the first step is to remain vigilant. There are numerous resources available to keep us updated on the evolving situation at the border. News outlets, both mainstream and independent, provide coverage on the matter. But it's crucial to diversify our sources to understand the complexities of the issue fully. Podcasts, too, offer a wealth of knowledge. They often delve into the nuances that a standard news report might miss. Look for podcasts that specialize in immigration, politics, or current events. They can provide in-depth analysis and perspectives from experts in the field. Social media platforms are another resource, but remember to be discerning. While they can offer immediate updates, not all information shared there is accurate or unbiased. To validate the information you come across, cross-check it with reliable news sources. Now, staying informed is just one side of the coin. The other is engagement. It's not enough to just know what's happening. We must be active participants in our democracy. This could mean engaging in civil discourse with friends, family, or online communities. Respectful conversations can lead to a better understanding of different perspectives and can help bridge the divide on contentious issues like immigration. Voting is another crucial form of engagement. By casting our ballots, we have a say in the policies and the leaders that shape them. It's our way of holding our representatives accountable. If there's an election coming up in your area, make sure you're registered to vote and know the candidate's stance on immigration. And finally, reach out to your representatives. Let them know your thoughts on border control, immigration, and the president's assertion. They are there to represent us after all. You can find contact information for your local, state, and federal representatives online. A call, an email, or even a letter can go a long way. Stay informed, stay engaged, and remember your voice matters. Please subscribe and share this video to spread awareness.